What's going on? This is Council Poly Rob. Welcome to another episode of the Poly Rob Podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe, and all the information on how to support my channel is right there at the bottom. This podcast, this episode, although will be a short episode, is nonetheless partially sad and partially a celebratory type of thing. Earlier today, I got the news that Grammy nominated and Grammy winning producer from Memphis, Tay Keith, has passed away at the age of 29. Tay Keith was one of the elite producers, young elite producers in our industry today. He's put together records and co-produced records with Travis Scott for some of his better projects, records with Block Boy JB. He actually did if you're unfamiliar with Nonstop, I'm pretty sure everyone knows Nonstop, from Drake. Tay Keith was a producer on that record. He also did, which is most notable for me, he did Pound Town and Ski Eat from Sexy Red. Those are the two records that I mostly known him for. And it's definitely a sad time for the hip hop industry. You know what I'm saying? It's never a good thing when some of our hardworking and very talented producers and artists pass away before their time. You know, we've all experienced at some point in time a untimely passing away of somebody who is just so promising, very promising of what they can do within the next 10 to 20 years or so, you know? Also, prayers go out to his family, prayers go out to his friends, his business colleagues, his creative colleagues. I don't know if he has kids or not. Let me know in the comments if he does have kids or not. But just prayers goes out to everybody that Tay Keith has touched in a musical, creative way. You know what I mean? And every fan of Tay Keith definitely continue to show support to his legacy, what he's done, what he was able to do so far before God sent him to the best place upstairs. And just keep his music going. You know what I mean? I don't know if there's going to be any more music that he will produce in a posthumous way, which means that, you know, any music with his production after the fact. But the records that he has produced, you know, support, run it up. You know what I'm saying? Definitely run it up. I got wind of the producer Tay Keith. I got wind of him. You know, I'm a research type of guy. I'm a, you know, lightweight nerd when it comes to producing and audio engineering and things like that. And I was able to catch him on a couple of podcasts that I check out that has to deal with, you know, producers growing, you know, audio nerds and things like that. So I caught a couple of his interviews. I also caught the $1 Million Worth of Game when he was on $1 Million Worth of Game. And I was, you know, just watching his journey and the things that he did. Well, listening to his journey, I would say. And first off, just knowing that Tay Keith was from Memphis was like a super plus, because I really feel like Memphis artists and producers are so underrated, and they be putting together fire. You know what I'm saying? From 3-6 Mafia to A-Ball, MJG, like there's so many different artists and producers and creators from Memphis. Like shout out to my boy Goodfella Gambino. You know what I'm saying? He's an artist, from Memphis, and he's phenomenal dude. You know what I'm saying? He really, his lyricism is elite. You would think he's from the East Coast, but he got so much soul and so much, so much dope energy and lyricism. So shout out to my boy Goodfella Gambino. He got some music dropping real soon. Y'all hear from him. But there's so many artists, you know what I mean? Like, Anthony Q, the new artist, Anthony Q, that's a singer, crooner, songwriter. He's dope. He's fire. There's just, Young Dolph, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many dope artists from Memphis, and I don't think Memphis gets is just due enough. For real, for real. But Tay Keith had a unique style of producing, with unique bass rhythms, you know what I'm saying? Heavy bass, always knocking those hi-hats was the hi-hats were never repetitive, always changed every 8 bars. It was always, something unique and new, you know what I'm saying? And the way you approach his beats, like, is very energetic. Lots of energy. And that's what, Travis Scott, was able to make some of the best records on, you know what I'm saying? Same thing with Sexy Red, amongst other artists as well. The one thing that I caught from his interviews is how collaborative he was with working with people, not just artists, but also working with, some other producers. Like, he was never someone, and this is what I catch from his interviews. He would say, like, I'm big on collaboration. Like, let's put our heads together, let's put our ideas together, and make something great. You know what I mean? That's the one thing that I respect about Tay Keith in his creative process. There's a lot of producers out there that's just, I want to produce the whole beat, I want to drive the whole nature of what the record is about. But Tay was like, nah, let's put our heads together and let's figure this out. Let's see what we can make, or let's see what we can create. You know what I mean? Some sessions might be, he might take the bulk of the creative load. Some sessions might be another producer or another artist might give him a concept for a record. Who knows? You know what I mean? And collaborating, I mean, the best records are team records. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my business partner, Bob Drew. He always says that the best records are the team records. You know what I'm saying? Records where multiple people are coming together to make something great. You know what I mean? Aside from just his production, he definitely seemed like a really, really cool dude. Like somebody who was just chill. He not worried about nothing. You know what I'm saying? He just chilling, let his dreads hang. You know what I mean? And just, he posted, you know what I'm saying? He just seemed like a chill dude. You know what I mean? He seemed like somebody that if you was in the studio, you'll spend hours there because it's just good energy. You know what I'm saying? And that's also a big thing by me being a producer as well, is being able to be, respectable, be a cool cat to where y'all can spend hours, working on music, or even just vibing or having a conversation that might spark a hit record, that might spark something great. You know what I mean? That's one thing that gravitated me toward him, was how calm he was, talking about his experience of growing up doing, getting into production, developing a style, holding on to a style. He also had interviews and he would give game to the young producers about, making sure that you have your rightful percentage or your rightful value a part of the song, having your publishing, you know what I'm saying? Having your producer credit, making sure you get your proper percentage for what you've actually done to the production or the composition. You know what I mean? He will talk about that a lot. And I respect that, because a young producer, people try their best to take advantage. They try their best to take advantage of young producers because they're very talented, but they might not be very witty when it comes to the business side. Tay Keith was very, very business oriented. Like, he was always chill. He seemed like he was always chill and everything, but he was about his business. He would talk about that in the interviews a lot. And I'm glad that he was able to get nominated. And I believe he actually won a Grammy as well. So that's phenomenal as well. just so far before his passing, like I believe that he was able to, make his mark. You know what I'm saying? Not in full, but he still made his mark to where we could consider him a young legend. You know what I'm saying? A young legend, gone but not forgotten, but he's definitely made his mark in the industry. I definitely want to, just for me myself, because I don't know his entire catalog, but I will be doing my homework on what he's done, what records he's put together, listen to his entire catalog. I got to do a deep dive. I should have done it before, and we all should have, listened to everything before. I know a lot of y'all fans probably have already, but I'm going to do my research and my homework. And once again, condolences to the family, condolences to all his fans and all the creators that he's worked with. And let's just, it's hip hop, y'all. So let's try to keep, our fallen soldiers in our hearts, and let's try to keep their names alive. You know what I mean? If you've been touched musically, creatively, soul wise by Tay Keith, if you've enjoyed his music and his production, just keep streaming, man. Keep streaming, keep playing the videos, just keep his name alive as much as possible. You know what I'm saying? Let me know in the comments if y'all got any experiences of listening to his music or any personal experiences with Tay Keith of being around him. Put it in the comments, man. I want to hear about it. I want to hear more great stories about this great young legend of a producer. You know what I'm saying? You already know what it is. Workload.